friends, and welcome back to Searching for Awe. We're sorry it's been a while since our last update. We've honestly just been enjoying our time traveling and meeting new people, but we're so excited to be back posting. If you don't follow us on Instagram, definitely go follow us there because we've been posting a lot more there recently. As always with this video, please use the timestamps listed in the description below to skip past the parts of the video that you're not interested in. This video is going to cover a super broad amount of information, and not all of it will be pertinent to you. Today, I'd like to talk to you about a subject that Carlos and I hold very near and dear to our hearts: Thailand. We've spent a lot of time in Thailand, over 6 months and counting. In fact, we've spent more time here in the last year than any other country in the whole world. The joy that the people of Thailand create in us runs so deep that we constantly feel the need to share it with other people. If you don't believe us, ask our friends and family. We will not stop talking about it. And when we do share our love, we always get the same exact question. So, if I were to go to Thailand, where should I start? Makes sense, great question. Thailand is a large country and there is a lot to see, so today I will help you make an informed decision about where you should go based on your specific vacation expectations and how long you should stay. If you are a very experienced Thailand traveler, this video probably isn't for you. I'm going to make a lot of generalizations and keep information pretty broad here. And keep in mind, this is all coming from our personal experience, so if you disagree with anything in this video, comment down below. I'd love to see your input, but in my opinion, I think we did a pretty good job at condensing down the options and pointing you towards the best way to travel Thailand for a newbie. So without further ado, let's get started. So our first topic for today is how long should I stay in Thailand? And well, obviously our answer is going to be stay as long as you possibly can within the bounds of your work and your financial obligations, of course. We say this for two reasons. One, the most expensive and exhausting part of your Thailand journey is going to absolutely be your international plane ride. Especially if you're coming to Thailand from the US, the flight is so long and brutal. A better question would be, what's the least amount of time you can stay in Thailand while also getting the best experience and bang for your buck? Well, Thailand is separated into 6 regional divisions, but to keep things simple for you, let's just divide it into 3 sections. You've got northern, central, and southern Thailand. If you want to get the most out of your experience, you want to stay at least 3 weeks. In 3 weeks, you'll have the time to see all 3 divisions of Thailand, 1 week per division. It's still a little hectic, but the first couple of times we came, we did this exact same schedule and we had the time of our lives and also had time to relax and see the country. And now looking back on those original times, I feel like we did a really good job at organizing the trip and seeing everything we possibly could. If you have no choice and simply cannot stay longer than a week or 2, we highly recommend just staying in one region for each week that you have. Quick tip, if you book a bus ride, especially in the south of Thailand, whatever the time estimate they put on the website for the ride length, double it. If they say it's 4 hours, assume it'll be 8. The bus rides are so exhausting. Trust us, especially when it comes to visiting the southern islands, you really don't want to just go to an island for 1 or 2 days. It's going to be exhausting. The bus and ferry rides take up so much time and they're not super clean, and you'll likely be too tired to fully enjoy your trip. Of course, it can be done, but at what cost? We do have one example of this. We met a couple on Koh Phangan that just came for the moon party for 1 night. So they flew in to Koh Samui, took a ferry to Koh Phangan, didn't even book a hotel or anything, and just were on Koh Phangan for a couple of hours. They weren't even able to relax and they regretted the whole thing. So just take your time and stay in one place as long as you possibly can. So again, give yourself at least 1 week per division and try not to move around too much. There's a lot to see here, but if you want to actually experience Thai culture, consider that a big part of being Thai is the laid-back nature of the people. So be a little Thai, let yourself relax, immerse yourself into one spot, and live like the people do and enjoy your surroundings. Lastly on this subject, I'll say that typically Thailand offers a 30-day free visa on arrival, which means you just walk into the country without any visa, just your passport, with the ability to extend for 30 more days, which does cost a little bit of money, but it's not really that much. I think it's like 60 bucks. At the moment, October 2022, Thailand is offering an initial 45-day visa on arrival, but it ends in a couple months. I think it ends in December, so hop on that if you can. This is going to be different based on your passport origin, so check online at thaiembassy.com to make sure you have the most current information about how long you can legally stay in the country. If you want to stay longer than 60 to 75 days, don't worry, it is possible. Consider an education or work visa. The expat community in Thailand is huge. It's really similar to Bali. Lots of people come here to learn Muay Thai or teach English, and they are able to stay for years at a time. However, do not overstay your visa. It costs 500 baht per day, and you do not want to pay that. For those of you that don't know, that's $15 a day. So if you overstay your visa by like 10 days, you're going to pay $150. So here's where we get into the real meat of the video. Where should you go in Thailand? Like we said, there's 3 main divisions, North, Central, and South. Each of these divisions are associated with a number of locations. We'll talk about 11 main destinations today in all of Thailand, which spread across the 3 divisions. So let's go from division to division so you know what you're in for. To summarize everything I'm about to tell you, if you only have 3 weeks to visit or a similar amount of time, we recommend doing 1 week in Bangkok, 1 week in Chiang Mai, and 1 week in Koh Phangan and or Ao Nang. My preference is Ao Nang. You'll get city life in Bangkok, country mountain rice field culture in Chiang Mai, and beautiful sandy beaches in Koh Phangan or Ao Nang. Simple and sweet. If you want to know why we chose these destinations or want to know more about all the locations, keep listening. If you don't and just want to talk budget, use the timestamps to skip this next section. Starting with the first division of Central Thailand. There are 2 main tourist destinations in Central, including Bangkok and Pattaya. Of course, there are many other places to visit in this region, like Hua Hin. We've got some photos on Instagram that you can see if you're interested in checking that out. But that's for another video. Unlike the Northern Thailand division, which shares similar culture all the way through, Pattaya and Bangkok do not. They might as well be completely separate worlds. I'm gonna make this exceptionally honest and maybe hurt some people's feelings, but it's the truth. If you're coming to Thailand for beach and sex tourism, you're looking for Pattaya. That's it, just go there so the rest of us can enjoy Thailand in peace and you can go be disgusting somewhere else. Pattaya is known pretty much worldwide as a sex tourism destination, and while they have beautiful beaches, most of the beach is lined with high-priced condo buildings, restaurants, and hotels. This is not a place to visit if you're on a honeymoon or married or really in any type of monogamous relationship. In fact, on our way to Pattaya, our taxi driver was very curious about why we chose to go. He kept asking us questions about our choices and told us straight up that married people should not go to Pattaya. It is a place for single men. Carlos and I came here out of curiosity, mostly because we wanted to know if the rumors were true about Pattaya. Long story short, our taxi driver was right. I personally don't feel safe walking around on my own in Pattaya. I felt like I got many stares, and not in a good way. Most streets were lined with prostitutes, strippers, and bars, and the quality of men that they attract. Okay, now that I've hurt a lot of people's feelings, I'll say that while in Pattaya there are some beach resorts that are family friendly and common among Asian tourists mostly. Of course, this market exists, but why go to Pattaya and surround yourself with this environment when you can go literally anywhere else? All right, let's talk about Bangkok. Bangkok is the largest city in Thailand with a population of over 10 million people, making it the 31st largest city in the world, and it is extremely famous. It's featured in many American TV shows and movies such as Hangover Part 2, No Escape, and The Flight Attendant. Bangkok is everything you could possibly ask for in a city, from high-end sky bars and Michelin-star celebrity-frequented restaurants to $1 street food vendors and 7-story malls that feature mazes of discounted bulk fashion. Bangkok is our favorite city in the world, mostly because of its accessibility and its flexibility, but also because I'm a shopaholic and Carlos is a foodie. We don't buy a lot of stuff. I just like looking at all the new fashion and knowing that I can actually afford them if I wanted to, which isn't a feeling that I get when I walk around regular malls. I love fashion, but I hate spending high prices. Do be careful when you shop here, because although sometimes the clothes are genuinely good deals, other times they're just made poorly and won't last you. But I have many items in my closet from MBK and Platinum that I bought for $2 to $3, and I've had them for years. If you want to learn more about these malls, we do have a video up about them. We are also obsessed with the gigantic night markets in Bangkok. Before COVID, there were way more of them, but just recently they all started popping up again. Our favorites at the moment are Chatuchak Market, Asiatique, and Train Night Market Ratchada. The other great thing about Bangkok is if you need to keep costs extremely low, you can 100% spend $10 a day on accommodations, food, and activities. Or you can spend $100,000 a day and have the most intense high-end shopping spree of your life. Either way, you'll have a ton of fun. There's also a huge party scene here, including a pretty sketchy red light district. If you're looking for the party, we recommend taking a stroll along Khao San Road. Bangkok is also extremely accessible. The BTS, MRT, subway system, endless grabs, and tuk-tuks in Bangkok will allow you to get all over the city quickly, easily, and affordably. One big tip for Bangkok: book your accommodations close to public transport. Anywhere on the BTS line will work wonders and save you a ton of money. And one last thing, visit a sky bar. Just do it. Even if you get one overpriced cocktail, it is worth the view. There are so many in Bangkok, but personally, we really like Yao at Sunset. If you're interested in learning more about the sky bar, we also released a video on that recently, so you can go check that out and see what you're in for. Last time Carlos and I went, we spent about $50, and we each got 2 cocktails and an appetizer, so it's like mid-range American prices, but you get the most insane view of the city. Next, let's talk about northern Thailand. There are 3 main tourist destinations in northern Thailand: Chiang Mai the largest, Chiang Rai, and Pai. If you only have a week in the north, just visit Chiang Mai. Chiang Rai and Pai are even further north, and it's quite a journey to get there. Don't get me wrong, they're worth a visit if you have more time and want to enjoy the country landscape style of traveling, but there isn't nearly as much to do, and it's generally much quieter and mostly just beautiful views. But look, Chiang Mai is the largest city in the north, so of course it is absolutely chock full of things to do. You can go on guided day trips from here if you want to see the fields, and most importantly, there is an airport and train station, so you can fly here straight from Bangkok, way more convenient than the bus ride to Pai and Rai. And on a side note, this recent time we were in Chiang Mai, we went on a little bit of a bus road trip. We went to Doi and Thanon and some other parks, and it was really, really fun, and I feel that just in one day we were able to see a good portion of northern Thailand outside of Chiang Mai, so that was a good experience. So let's talk Chiang Mai. There is no beach or huge futuristic city here, but there's many beautiful lakes, mountain ranges, gigantic national parks, temples, history lessons, a huge expat community, university life, food markets, gorgeous rice, coffee, and poppy fields that span for miles, and a deeply rooted cafe culture. My favorite thing. Chiang Mai has some of the most insane coffee culture and concentration of quality coffee and cocoa shops I have ever seen in my life. On any given street, you'll walk by 4 to 5 coffee shops right next to each other, and they all have the most insane drinks and treats, and they're great quality. It's such a big part of the culture here, so much so that we're making a whole video on just the cafes in Chiang Mai, and there are a lot. They're world-renowned, and many have Michelin stars. Another cool thing about Chiang Mai is that the old city in the center of town is surrounded by a wall and an actual moat that began construction in the 13th century, and it's still there. You can take walks in this area, visit the temples, touch this exceptionally old wall, and just enjoy the history right in front of you. The people here are also extremely generous and some of the best people we've met in our lives. For example, about a week ago, we were on a late night walk with some friends in Chiang Mai. We came across a small family party, so we walked in and they invited us for free beer and games. We had never met these people before. You would never have found that kind of culture in the West. Making friends here is as easy as giving someone the time of day and genuinely showing them that you care. We also recently met some friends here that have a buffalo chicken shop, and it was really, really good. It's the best buffalo chicken we've had in Thailand so far, so I really recommend you guys go check them out. It is a husband and wife team. The wife is Thai and the husband is American from California. It was really fun talking to them, and you guys will definitely enjoy their food. Now, let's talk southern Thailand. Southern Thailand is made up of, give or take, 6 main tourist destinations: Ao Nong, Koh Phi Phi, Koh Lanta, Phuket, and Koh Samui, Koh Phangan. Keep in mind, any location that starts with the word Koh is an island, and the other are just beach towns on the coast of the mainland. You'll also notice I separated this list into 2 sections based on general location. Ao Nong, Koh Phi Phi, Koh Lanta, and Phuket all exist on the west side of Surat Thani mainland, and Koh Samui and Koh Phangan exist on the east side of the mainland. So if you're going to spend a week in southern Thailand, you'll want to either stick to the east or the west. If you go between them, you're probably going to have a long bus ride or yet another flight and probably multiple round-trip ferries. It's just not worth it for the short term if you're only here for a couple of days, because you can get just about the same type of experiences on both the east and the west coast. So overall, when you think southern Thailand, think beach, fresh coconuts, and relaxed living. Let's start with the west of the mainland. I'll list these based on our opinion of must-see to maybe consider skipping: Ao Nong, Koh Phi Phi, Koh Lanta, and Phuket. First off, Ao Nong. We love the fact that Ao Nong is a small beach town. It's honestly perfect for a 1-week vacation in the south because you really can walk everywhere. You never really need to take tuk-tuks because everything is super accessible. We have spent a cumulative over 1 month in Ao Nong, and we just keep coming back to do the same stuff over and over again because it's just so beautiful and quaint. The vibe there is outstanding, and there's plenty of partying too if that's what you're looking for, but it starts later in the night, making this a perfect place for both families and young adults to visit. It's also a short drive from the Krabi airport, so you can fly right from Bangkok to Krabi in 1 hour and take a pretty affordable drive to the beach. It's easy, cheap, fun, accessible, low stress, and Ao Nong Beach is also within an hour drive of our favorite hike in the world, Dragon Crest. Dragon Crest hike ends at the very top of a mountain that curves and jets down over the valley. So when you're at the very top, you can see the entire valley below. It's a 4-hour hike total, so it's long and it's hot and it's humid, but it is also 100% worth it. Definitely a view that we hope that each and every one of you gets to experience. To make things even better, my favorite park in Thailand is a 4.5-hour drive away from Ao Nong. You can also get there from Phuket, but the drive is slightly longer. So 4.5 hours might seem like a long time, but considering Thai day trips typically drive upwards of 8 hours to see all your destinations anyway, this park is definitely worth the trip. We book a van to Khao Sok early in the morning, and then when you arrive at the bay, you can rent a longtail boat with a driver and sail around the most beautiful lake you've ever seen. I mean, this place looks straight out of Jurassic Park. It's beautiful, rain or shine, but my God, if it's a bit cloudy and hazy when you go, I consider you lucky because it's so beautiful. It really reminds me of a mystical fairyland. Not to mention, Ao Nong boat tours give you access to all the islands in the area, including Railay Beach, otherwise known as Bob Marley Beach, the beautiful Chicken Island, the PP Islands, and even Phuket if you really wanted to. There's really no downside to staying here. Second on the list is Koh Phi Phi Don. We love Koh Phi Phi Don. It's a surprisingly small island in the shape of an hourglass. The waist of the hourglass can be explored in less than a day. This is such a small island that you won't ever see a car. There are only bikes, and sometimes you'll see motorbikes, or in the rarest of occasions, an ambulance, which is really just an ATV. There's not a lot to do outside of restaurants and bars, and because of this, I will say that Koh Phi Phi is overwhelmingly a young adult drinking destination. It can get pretty loud at night, EDM bars and the beaches, fire shows, and lots of drugs and drinking. You can bring your family here for sure, it's safe, but the crowd is quite young in the evenings, and early in the morning walking around, you can definitely tell that everybody is just hungover. It's kind of funny. If you don't like your kids being around that vibe, probably go to Ao Nong instead. Same goes for honeymooners that don't drink often. Probably just go to Ao Nong and take a one-day boat trip to Koh Phi Phi so you can see it. Side note on this one, have you ever seen the movie The Beach starring Leonardo DiCaprio? This is one of our favorite classic movies, and it was filmed on Koh Phi Phi Lane Maya Bay, which is the island right next to Koh Phi Phi Don. You can visit the majestic Maya Bay most of the year, but sometimes it is closed due to preservation and construction. If you're in this area, even if you're setting off from Phuket or Ao Nong, you must try to see Maya Bay early in the morning before the crowds arrive. It is the most beautiful beach we have ever seen, and we've seen a lot of beaches. Third, Koh Lanta. Koh Lanta is amazing. It is a huge island. You'll almost certainly need a scooter to pay a cab to get anywhere on the island because everything is so sprawled out. Koh Lanta is a much less known destination and definitely more affordable than Koh Phi Phi or Ao Nong for that reason, but it is getting more popular, so consider visiting it before it does get more popular because it's kind of an untouched paradise at the moment. There are also a couple of tiny islands like Koh Nai nearby, which is even smaller than Koh Phi Phi. You can get there by paying for a long-tail boat day trip. Because of the low popularity, there are very few restaurants and hotels in comparison to other places on this list. It's also quite hard to find the party scene here, although it does exist. For instance, we stayed at Koh Lanta. There were 2 restaurants near the resort, and that was it. If you wanted to eat anywhere else, you had to rent scooters and ride 10 to 15 minutes to find more. We also had to hire a taxi a couple times from the hotel, but to be honest, if you don't want to, you don't have to go anywhere outside of your resort. That's the beauty of Koh Lanta. If you stay in a place like Koh Lanta, you have everything you need. They know things are sprawled out. They know you don't have access to a lot. So they just give you everything you need, and at an exceedingly affordable price because it's such an unpopular destination. You have an affordable resort with free water, AC, and Wi-Fi, access to a great quality restaurant on the beach, a pool, weekend night markets held within the hotel, and a beautiful semi-private beach. And for all of that, we paid $17 a night for all of that. Now, you're probably asking, what's the catch? Why do we typically recommend Ao Nong or Koh Phi Phi over this untouched island? Well, because it's less convenient, especially for short-term travelers. It can be somewhat expensive to get to and a little out of the way to find a boat here. Usually you'll have to hire a car to drive you from Krabi to the ferry station, then the car you hire will ride the ferry with you in it and then drive you to your hotel. And then you do that all over again to get back to Krabi and then have to take a flight or some other transfer back to Bangkok. It's a long situation and a lot of people aren't willing to do it, especially because once you get to your hotel, you're a little bit stranded. So if you're willing to go through all of that to have some more privacy, by all means, do it. We will surely do it again. But if you're looking for convenience, Ao Nong's your gal. Fourth and last on this coast, Phuket. Now, before I go into detail, I'll say immediately that we have repeatedly come back to Ao Nong and Koh Phi Phi, and we'll be back to Koh Lanta, but we will probably never be back to Phuket. It's just not our vibe, and we generally don't recommend it to people, but here's the info anyway because it is a really popular place to go. Phuket is a huge area, technically an island, and has a lot of space to cover. What I have found is that people either love Phuket and continuously go back, or it's truly not their vibe and they never go back. You'll want to find a place on the west coast. This is where the beautiful white beaches live. The beach is really unimpressive and not that great on the east coast. You have many beach choices, but the main 3 are Kata, Patong, and Karan. Kata is quite small with few restaurant options, but oftentimes more private. Unfortunately, because of this, it does seem to gather quite a bit of trash, which is really sad, but it's still beautiful. Patong is quite rowdy, loud, and of course holds the famous Patong walking street. This isn't a place for children or honeymoon couples. Patong can get very much like Pattaya at night. If you're looking to make questionable decisions, consider coming here. Sex tourism, drugs, and drinking are a common nightly happenstance. This leads me to recommend Karan Beach out of all of the main tourist destinations in Phuket. Kron is quieter and more family-friendly and romantic than Patong, but larger, cleaner, and offers more variety of things to do than Kata. I would describe Kron as being similar to staying on a beach in San Diego. Also, if you want to go out and see Big Buddha or downtown Phuket, we recommend making a list of things you want to do on the island. You can just call a Grab and then ask the Grab driver if they would take you around town for one price, and you can usually get a good price by just asking them. Now, after saying all of that, I can see that I simply prefer Ao Nang over Phuket, especially for a short vacation. I personally believe that Ao Nang beaches are prettier than beaches in Phuket. The sand is cleaner, the views are stunning, and more than anything, it is smaller but less busy than Phuket. Now, on to the eastern islands of Koh Phangan and Koh Samui. You can think of Koh Phangan and Koh Samui like identical twins that have exactly the opposite personalities. They're literally right next to each other, but Koh Phangan is well known as a hostel party island. They host a monthly moon party that gets up to 30,000 patrons. If you don't know what a moon party is, it's one of the most insane parties you'll ever go to, and it's hosted every month on Koh Phangan on the night of the full moon. Picture beaches that span miles long, and along it are food and alcohol vendors and clubs absolutely bumping EDM. The moon parties can get insane. We're talking like 30,000 people on the beach, drunk as a skunk, running around, being insane. While Koh Samui is way more relaxed and resort-centered. Koh Samui is also a bit more expensive and more popular with the older resort crowd versus the college crowd that tends to go to Koh Phangan. We personally prefer going to Koh Phangan. After all, you don't have to party in Koh Phangan. There's perfectly good, calm resorts on the island that aren't loud, crowded, or full of drunk people, and most times it'll be cheaper than Koh Samui. But it really depends on the time of the year and the time of the month, so if you don't care about partying and just want to relax on one of these islands, my suggestion is to just look at the prices for stays before you make your final decision. Okay, so that's it for the main destinations of Thailand. Now let's talk about trip budget. So you have your round-trip flights, travel between location, food, activities, accommodation, and travel health insurance. Carlos and I always consider about $1,000 each for round-trip tickets, but that's going to heavily depend on where you're flying from, so do some research. We recommend searching on Google Flights. We have found that they will seek out the best deals, and try to book about 3 months in advance. Also, if you're on a budget, know that February is the cheapest month to fly to Thailand. Now, you also have to consider travel between county divisions. Let's say you decided to heed our recommendations and do 1 week in Bangkok, 1 week in Chiang Mai, and 1 week in Koh Phangan and or Ao Nang. Again, this is actually the exact same route that Carlos and I took the first 2 times we visited Thailand, and it's what we always recommend. So you'll pay $50 per person to fly to Chiang Mai from Bangkok, $90 per person to fly from Chiang Mai to mainland Surat Thani, $30 per person round trip from Surat Thani back to Koh Phangan, and lastly, a flight from Surat Thani to Bangkok for around $50, and if you decided to go to Ao Nang, it would be pretty similar. That's about $220 each for inter-country travel, and you can do it cheaper if you use trains or buses, but flights are just so much easier. I also usually add a cushion of about $2 a day on tuk-tuks, just in case, which could be around $42 each for 3 weeks. You probably won't spend that though. It's just a really good idea to budget in. We do have friends that travel around the country almost for completely free. We don't recommend this, but we have friends that just hop in the back of people's trucks and like take a ride from Chiang Mai to Bangkok, and it's super cool. We don't do that, but I think it's pretty safe, and you could catch a free ride. As far as food, we usually budget $6 to $25 per day. That's a huge range, and here's why. If you want to be super extra extremely cheap, you could probably get by averaging under $10 per person per day on food, or less. It's easy to find cheap eats at mall food courts, night markets, street stalls, and even at 7-Eleven. But sometimes, every once in a while, we'll go to a sky bar in Bangkok, which after 2 cocktails each and a couple of appetizers, we'll spend about $25 each, but that's like, you know, top of the line. So let's say $15 per day on average, and that's honestly kind of the high side. As far as activities, we don't really spend much money. Most events are free here in Thailand, but we do consider alcohol and weed to be activities. And before you come at me, if you don't know already, smoking grinded flower is now 100% legal in Thailand. It's a bit expensive if you go to the wrong places, but you can expect anywhere to 100 to 700 baht per gram. Alcohol ranges a lot too. Usually it's around $2 to $3 per beer, and buckets are around $9. But I'll say that if you're drinking and smoking twice a week, on average, one person should expect to be paying around $40 a week. Not too bad. If you're staying 3 weeks, that's $120 a month. Man, I spent more in a night in the US drinking. That's just embarrassing. While researching accommodations, you'll pretty quickly notice there is a huge range in Thailand. Most places you go, you'll have choices between $7 a night and $250 a night, and many choices in between. Accommodations are what you make of them, but for Carlos and I, we usually spend about $12 per person on a nightly accommodation, and we stay in a pretty nice place. That's $252 for 3 weeks. But remember, you can go way cheaper than that. We have friends that stayed in Chiang Mai recently for a whole month, and they paid around $160 for the both of them for the whole month on accommodation. We usually book through Airbnb. That's typically where you can find the best prices, but sometimes in Bangkok you have to book on booking.com, or on other sites you might find good pricing for hostels. Lastly, travel health insurance. Before you come to Thailand, please check your insurance coverage. You're coming to a new country with a completely different ecosystem, different bacteria, and sometimes not the most intensely scrutinized food handling practices, especially when it comes to street food. You're also opening yourself up to a lot of dangers here, like motorbike riding in a really crazy dangerous street, and dogs can be kind of dangerous here too, sometimes rabid. You know, animals bite. Just be safe. We have witnessed insane injuries in Thailand. We had a friend that stepped on glass on a beach and almost had to get his leg amputated. We also had a friend that fell face first off of the back of a truck going 30 miles per hour while incredibly drunk. He had to get full facial reconstruction surgery. I myself got 3 different types of sicknesses the first time I came and 2 sicknesses the next time I came. Especially if you're accident prone or sickness prone like me, you don't want to land in the ER with a high hospital bill. But I will mention that emergency room care in Thailand is way, way, way cheaper than in the US. I was charged about $100 for something I was charged for like $10,000 at an ER in Thailand. So it is much cheaper. You want to be really careful. 1 month of travel insurance can run you about $80. Some can be even as low as $20. Just try to find one that covers scooter crashes if you plan on riding scooters. And hey, just for your info, if you don't have a motorbike license and you get in an accident while driving the bike, sometimes the insurance won't cover you. So just be really, really careful. All of that together leaves you with a budget of
about $2,029 per person.
And remember, that's an average. It can go up or down, depending on how lavish your lifestyle is. Now, all of this information considered, the first couple of times we came to Thailand, Carlos and I each spent about $1,400 for 3 weeks. You can 100% do all of this on a budget. You just have to make good moves, plan ahead, be willing to walk, be willing to be slightly uncomfortable for short periods of time, and it'll all be worth it in the end. Okay, so our camera died. That's why it's a little bit of a change in brightness. Little scenery change, never hurt anyone. So moving on with the video, I would be amiss if I didn't mention this last bit of information. Before you come to Thailand, there is a huge market here, especially in the north, for unique experiences such as the exploitation of indigenous people, animals, and hard drugs in sanctuaries and villages. So we ask that you be very mindful of the harmful activities that you participate in all over Thailand, but especially in the north. Do not visit elephant sanctuaries unless they are no-touch sanctuaries like the Bees Elephant Sanctuary. You can find no-touch elephant sanctuary experiences at bees-ellasanctuary.org. These experiences will be a little bit more expensive, but any sanctuary that allows you to physically touch or bathe the elephant upon first meeting them is almost definitely abusing the animals. We made this mistake once, and after inspecting our experience together, we realized that it was a bad decision, and we have a lot of regrets about going. If you're curious about this topic, comment down below in the comment section, and I can absolutely make a whole video about this topic too. I know it's really confusing because at first people were saying, oh, don't go to abusive animals places. Oh, well, they're not abusive anymore because you don't ride them. And now everyone's saying, oh, don't touch the elephants at all. It's abuse. I know it can be really complicated, but it is true. You should not visit an elephant sanctuary that allows you to touch and bathe the elephants. This goes for tiger parks, zoos, and especially do not visit the Cayenne people, otherwise known as long neck people, through a tour. Just don't. Also, with the coffee shops and Thai one-time use culture, there's a lot of plastic waste. Try finding shops that give ceramic wares for dine-in or biodegradable to-go cups. Carry around a grocery bag when you go shopping at 7-Eleven and ask for no straws or cutlery when you get snacks. If you're long staying, try getting gallons of water instead of individual water bottles and water filters. Lastly, on the subject, if this is your first time going to Asia, you will 100% be astounded by the lack of waste baskets. This isn't just Thailand, this is all of Asia. We've experienced it everywhere, and Thailand especially, also Indonesia, don't have the greatest trash containment processes, so oftentimes you may have to carry your trash around with you until you find a bin. Please do this. We all know that Thailand has a plastic and one-time use problem, so don't be a contributor. This goes for Central and the Southern Islands too, not just the northern part of Thailand. So now I'm gonna get off my high horse. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please let us know if you have any questions or comments down below. If you've been here for a while, you know that at the end of all of our videos, we include a small slideshow of all of our favorite photos that we've taken in the locations that we talk about in our video, but seeing as how this was such a long video with so many locations, it's gonna be a long one. So if you're interested in connecting the dots, please stay tuned. If you're not, then we will see you next time. And remember to never stop searching for awe.